Welcome to JForrest English. I'm Jennifer, and today you're going to add 10 phrasal verbs to your vocabulary that will help you sound fluent and natural. First, I'm going to quiz you to see how well you know these phrasal verbs, and then I'll explain each one in detail. Let's get started. Question 1. My boss didn't take my concern seriously. She... Now, I'll only give you 3 seconds to answer, so if you need more time, hit pause, take as much time as you need, and when you're ready, hit play. She shrugged it off. Question 2. The text on your screen is a little small. Can you zoom in? Question 3. I feel like Tony uses his injury to all the work. To wiggle out of. Question 4. I still have 20 unread emails to get through. Question 5. This year the board acquiring one of our competitors. The board is aiming at. Question 6. I wasn't planning on eating the entire cake, but my friends egged me on. Question 7. That job was perfect. I don't know why Tracy turned it down. Question 8. I have an important meeting today. I hope traffic doesn't hold me up. Question 9. I'm almost ready for the party. I just need to before we leave. Freshen up. Question 10. We have so much in common, so we really hit it off. Now don't worry if that quiz was difficult, because now I'm going to explain every phrasal verb in detail. And if you would like more personalized support to help you understand the phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions that native speakers use, then I recommend the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers on TV, movies, and YouTube, so you learn the most common expressions to help you sound fluent and natural, and to help you become fluent in as little as 90 days. You can look in the description below for the link to join. And now I'll explain every phrasal verb in detail. Number 1, to aim at. And you aim at a target. And when you aim at a target, this means to intend to achieve that target. So you just try. You try to achieve that target. For example, they're aiming at reducing their costs by 10%. So what's the target in this sentence? Reducing their costs by 10%. That entire clause is the target. Now notice we have a gerund verb. So you can absolutely have a gerund verb. You can aim at doing something, so a gerund verb. You can also use a noun. For example, his slingshot was aimed at his neighbor's garage. So the target in this example is the neighbor's garage. And his slingshot was aimed at because that's the target he's attempting to achieve. Number 2, this is a great one, to shrug off. When you shrug something off, you disregard it. You don't consider it important. So I could say his insult. An insult is something negative you say to another person. His insult was aimed at me, to use our first phrasal verb. His insult was aimed at me, but I shrugged it off. I said, meh, I don't care. I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm not going to let it hurt me. It's not important. I'm going to disregard it. I'm going to shrug it off. Now notice what I'm doing with my shoulders, because this is the verb shrug. You can shrug your shoulders, and we generally do that when we want to say, meh, whatever. We tend to shrug our shoulders. So that's where this expression comes from. Number 3, to egg on. That's right, to egg on. This is a fun one. When you egg someone on, you encourage them to do something, but that something isn't in their best interest. For example, let's say a student is arguing with their teacher. Now that probably isn't in the student's best interest to argue with the teacher. But if the other students are saying, yeah, keep going, you're doing great, they're egging him on. They're egging that student on. They're encouraging that student to keep arguing, even though arguing isn't in his best interest. Or let's say you're considering doing something a little risky, like jumping off a high cliff when you don't know what's beneath you. And maybe you're not really serious about it, but the crowd eggs you on. Oh, do it, you can do it, you should do it. They're encouraging you, even though it can have a really negative outcome. The crowd egged him on to jump off the cliff. Now, most likely you won't use this in your everyday vocabulary, but you'll commonly hear this on TV, in movies, or when you're reading. So I wanted to share it with you so you're not confused when you see this egg on and you have no idea what they're talking about. Now you do. Number 4, to turn down. When you turn something down, it means you reject that something, and we use this in the context of an offer or an invitation. For example, they offered her the job, but she turned it down. She said no to the job. So of course you can say she rejected, but it's very common, more common to say she turned it down. So you can turn down something like a job offer. You can also turn down an invitation from someone else, a social invitation or a romantic invitation. For example, I asked Marissa out, but she turned me down. When you ask someone out, it means you invite them to dinner or a coffee for romantic purposes. I asked Marissa out, but she turned me down. She rejected my offer. Number 5, to zoom in, or the opposite, to zoom out. If there are any photographers here, you already know what this means, because when you zoom in, the object becomes closer, and when you zoom out, the object becomes farther away. And I'm sharing this with you because everyone is meeting on video conference now. When you're having a video conference, you have a camera that's focusing on you. And it's really important you have the correct zoom. You don't want to be too close. If you're too close to the camera, you need to zoom out. If you're too far, you need to zoom in. So you might ask a colleague, hey, I can't see you very well. Can you zoom in? Or a colleague might tell you, your picture's all blurry, you need to zoom out. So now you know what that means for your next video call. Number 6, to wiggle out of. This is a great one. When you wiggle out of something, you avoid a situation, a task, a chore, a responsibility that you don't really want to do, and you avoid it in a cunning way. So let's say that tomorrow you're supposed to clean out the garage and you don't really want to, but your wife or your husband, your sister, your brother, whoever wants you to clean out the garage. Now tomorrow, when you're supposed to clean out that garage, maybe you get an urgent phone call just at the right moment and you have to go to work and finish something. But you planned that phone call. You planned that phone call to take place right as you needed to clean the garage. So you did that in a cunning way. So you try to wiggle out of cleaning the garage. So basically, when you're asked to do something and then you try to avoid it, by creating a scenario where you have another responsibility, or maybe a friend asks you to move, but you tell them, oh, you have a back injury, so you hurt your back and now you can't help them move. So you try to wiggle out of it. Number 7, to hold up. This is a must-know phrasal verb because we use it when you're delayed, and you're delayed specifically while you're traveling. This could be traveling on a flight or a train, so a more long distance travel, but it can also just be traveling from your office to another boardroom or from your house to the car. So it can be a very short distance travel or a more longer travel as well. For example, my kids always hold me up when I'm trying to leave. So you're trying to leave the house and then your kids, Mom, I need this, help me find that, do this for me, and they delay you. They delay you when you're trying to leave, you're trying to travel. My kids always hold me up. Now, we commonly use this in the passive form. So you might have an appointment that you're trying to get to and you're late. And when you get to that appointment, you can say, sorry, I'm late. I was held up. To be held up. I was held up by my kids. Oh, I was held up. Number 8, to hit it off. This is a great one. When you hit it off, it means you have a very positive relationship with someone right from the first time you meet them. So let's say you have a new coworker and the first conversation you have, you realize you have a lot in common. You really like the person. They're nice. They're funny. They like you. The conversation's going really well. You can say, wow, we really hit it off. Hit it off. That it is just our relationship. We hit our relationship off, but we always use it. We really hit it off. Now notice how I also said we. We almost always use this expression with the subject we. My coworker and I, or we. My coworker and I hit it off. I would not say I hit it off with my coworker. That sounds unnatural. We say we hit it off. Number 9, to get through. When you get through something, it simply means you finish it. But that something is usually a chore or an unpleasant task, something that isn't enjoyable. For example, I have 10 reports I need to get through by the end of the day. I have 10 reports I need to finish by the end of the day. But when I use the phrasal verb get through, it implies there's going to be some effort, some struggle. I don't really enjoy the task. Number 10, to freshen up. When you freshen up, you quickly improve your appearance. So before you go into a meeting or to a social event, you can freshen up. You can go into the bathroom and you can brush your hair, you can put on fresh lipstick, you can check your makeup. Now, if you're a guy, maybe you put on deodorant or cologne, things like that. So you quickly improve your appearance. You freshen up. So let's say you're going out for a nice dinner. You might say, oh, just give me 5 minutes to freshen up. Now that you're more comfortable with the phrasal verbs, how about we do that exact same quiz again and you can compare your score. Here are the questions. Hit pause, take as much time as you need, and when you're ready, hit play to see the answers. Here are your answers. So hit pause, take as much time as you need to review the answers. So what's your favorite phrasal verb from the list? Share that in the comments below. I think mine is to egg someone on. That's a really fun and weird phrasal verb. And don't forget to download your free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can download it from my website right here. And when you're ready, get started with your next lesson.